Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. I have a project share, and at the end of sharing the die, I do want to share a little really quick, hopefully quick tutorial. Um, I was invited by Erica Scrapdiva 29 to be a guest designer. So she sent me a package of dies. Amongst those dies was this bow die. And when it comes in, you have to be careful because there's actually two sheets in the package. There's two, and in between the two, there's Erica's. Look at how nice her logo is. In between the two cardboards, there's the small die. So make sure that if you order this, to pull it out completely and take them apart, because there is the smaller die is inside, and if you throw away the package, you won't know that it's in there, but it's in there. So so I want to share with you guys what I created. Anyway, it comes with it's called a bow bag topper. So it comes with the large one and the smaller one. And the smaller one's not that small either, and the large one's a really nice size. So it comes with the silhouettes to both. And then it comes with the layering pieces to both, which are these right here. And this one does a whole silhouette. So you get these. And then you get the layering pieces that are that have the stitching on them, that are a little bit smaller than the ones with without the stitching. These are smaller, so they are mats and layers, and this one does have the stitching detail on it. And then you get the top portion of the bow also as a layering piece for both, with the stitching on it. So, and then you get for the centers of the bows, you get two oval dies without stitching, and then two with stitching for the center of that bow. But when I look at this die, I not only see a bow, I see the bow, but I also see a butterfly. And I'm going to share a project with you guys that is not fully completed yet. That's why I haven't shared it from my first haul. And let me grab that die really quick. I forgot to grab that really quick. And I want to share it with y'all. Here it is. So on the first batch of dies Erica sent me, so this is the second time Erica has invited me to be a guest designer. In the first time around, she sent me the 3D purse die that we curl up and to make the purse. I have one right here handy. So it's the die that creates this purse. So it the one die, you wrap it around and then you add the sides. So it only takes one die to complete this whole section other than the sides. But I like to find different ways to use a die. I will link all of this in the description box below. Please keep in mind that if you were to use the links that I provide for these products and purchase these products, I will make a small commission, and I appreciate when you guys do that. So for to create the project I'm going to share with you right now, I did use the 3D purse die, and I'm going to take it out of here and show you what I love about this, because I wanted to create some type of embellishment box. What I liked about this die, that when you cut it out, you have the what do you call them? The tabs. You have the tabs already here, and that when I create a box, that's kind of half, a lot of my work there, because instead of trying to figure out, okay, I need to make a tab, then how wide do I want my my box to be. Then I have to create another tag, and I, have to do measurements. With this, I didn't have to worry too much about that because I used this one to create the front and the back of my box. And this one already comes with a layering piece, so I didn't have to worry about that either. I used a layering piece. And then this would be the layering piece to this. So I didn't have to figure anything out. I used the dies mostly to create my box. I did have to do the bottom and the sides and part of the top on my own, but the front and the back and the front flap were using the dies. So the front flap, I used this to create it, and then it had the layering piece, and I wanted it to have some kind of fun curvy front flap to it. So this is what I used to create it. You guys will know, if you're paper crafters and you like creating 3D projects, you're gonna know exactly how I did that. So I want to share it with y'all. I created this embellishment box, and I did use the strap from the 3D purse as well for the handle. So I did use several pieces from that 3D purse die to create this. The only measurements that I needed to do was this section on top, the sides, but I didn't have to create tabs for the sides because the front and the back already had tabs. I didn't have to create tabs for the front and back of the bottom, just the sides, because that didn't have tabs because I cut my own sides. So all I had to do was add a tab to this side of the bottom and the opposite side of the bottom. But look at this gorgeous box. Is that gorgeous or what? This does have this is actually a purse closure, and you just flip this portion up and you open it up, and it has this gorgeous chain hanging from it. It was not very hard at all to figure out how to put that in. It's actually pretty easy. And then I did add the gold feet to it. There is the side. So the only measurements, the only thing I had to do was figure out how wide I wanted my side to be. The length, I didn't have to worry about the length because the front and the back dictated the height on the sides. The only thing I had to worry about more than anything was trying to decide how wide I wanted my box. So this is completely finished. I did add some gold hinges to my box, and I did glue them on with I use E6000 or something equivalent to that. Sometimes I'll use E6000, sometimes I'll use something else, but that's like E6000. So I do add a little bit, and then I do add brads, and I'm going to show you the inside because the inside is not finished, because I wanted to share with you how I attach these temporarily and permanently. The permanent is the glue, but it takes a while to dry. So the brads are the temporary hold, but the glue really is what holds it, when it sets. Look at this beautiful image. This is a digital image from Etsy. And there's the front again. Here is the bottom. Again, I do add the glue to the feet, and then as a permanent hold, but as a temporary hold or instant grab, I use brads on this. You can use screws and you can use brads. I use brads because it's easier. If I use a screw, you have to turn it, and it will go into the chipboard, but I think that the brads are better. My personal opinion. Now, when I created the box, I created it with just heavyweight cardstock. When I had my box assembled, I went in and added chipboard layers to the inside of the box, making the box very sturdy. To the bottom, to the sides, to the front and back, I just added the way we do decorative paper. Well, that's what I did with chipboard first, and then I added, no, I didn't add the decorative paper, only to one side, because it's not completely finished, because I want you guys to see. When I open this up, it just slides out of this little cut hole that's into the front portion of the lock. And there's the brads. That's how I adhered the handle. That's how I adhered the hinges. At first I had attached this to here with paper, and then I decided I love metal on my projects, so I decided I wanted hinges, and I had to cut it with my X-Acto knife and then add the hinges. But again, for a permanent hold, I use E6000, but for an instant grab, I use the brads. And you know, while the brads are holding onto it, the glue is setting. So there are the brads to the handle. Whoops. And there is the inside of the purse. It does have two little screws here, and you can use this little metal piece as your template for the front and the back to cut out. And I did use an X-Acto knife to do that. So that it's not covered up because I want to share it with you guys. I don't know if you can see way in there in the corners are the brads that I use for the feet. But you can see some of the raw chipboard right here. So it gives you an idea that I just cut panels out of chipboard and added them to the inside before my designer paper to give it that sturdiness. The only thing I covered was the back because there isn't any metal or anything that I needed to share with you there because I'm sharing it right here. But the same thing that I did here, I did behind this paper. I added the glue and then I added the brad to hold it as an instant grab, and then I was able to layer the paper. But it is not finished yet because I wanted to share it, and two, because it takes me a long time to decide what I want to do. Like, I can't create a project in one day. Another thing that I did make my lid a little bit wider because of the way the box was made. The front flap always has to extend a little bit more so it'll close flush to the front panel. And originally when I had it attached to the box, there was not a large gap. But once I decided to add hinges, the hinges kind of pushes it forward. So if I was you and I was creating this, I would use the exact width right here, because by the time you add the hinges is going to push it forward. And then when you add this flap, it will overlap the bottom portion of the front, because you do want them to overlap like that. Or if you don't want to take any chances, make it like just a little, maybe 1/16 of an inch wider. But I love the way it looks. But see, I didn't have to worry about the layering pieces because I had the die for it. So I wanted to layer the cup where it matched up. Also, right here in the front, let me grab a piece of, I have been cutting out things. That's why I have paper and stuff. This, I used the die from the folio to create a pocket right here. So I am going to put some kind of tag or something right in here. So that's why they're stitching there, because it is a pocket that I cut with the folio die. That die is amazing. You have a bunch of pieces to work with, especially if you like creating mini albums. So there is my box. Here's the front. I hope that you like it. And I don't know about a tutorial, you guys, because I take a long time to do things. Anyway, what I originally wanted to share with you was the butterfly bag toppers. Not butterfly, the bow bag toppers. But remember I said to me they look like butterflies? Look at that, guys. Look at how gorgeous that is. So I did cut out my base in white. And then I cut out the silhouette that doesn't have the stitching in the gold. And this is gold poster board from Hobby Lobby. And then I printed out my paper that I've been using for my project to cut out the stitch portion. And then I used vellum, for a light blue vellum, for the last layering piece. I added this beautiful gems. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby, I don't know, a couple years ago. And I've never even used them, but they are gorgeous. And they do have, they're like on a metal backing. So that's what I use for the center. There's like a diamond shape or marquee shape. That's what I use there. And then I use some just gold wire. And I'll share with you the wire that I use. You do need a couple of tools. You need some kind of wire cutter and a round nose plier because to curl the antennas on the butterfly. And this one might be from Michaels. It is a Doris brand, and this one's a 20 gauge wire. So that's what I use because you want the wire to be strong enough to hold the shape. Sorry guys. You want the wire to be strong enough to hold the shape, but you also want it soft enough that you'll be able to work with it. You don't want something that's real stiff. So I did use that. So let me share the small one with you. Here is the smaller one, and I used a different shape on that because, like I said, to me, they do look like bows, but they also look like butterflies. So this does a double duty, whether it be a bow or a butterfly. Look at how gorgeous. So I'm going to share with you how I created them. I'm just going to do the big one. When you first cut this out, it's kind of hard to fold it here. Use your ruler and line it up. Use the edge of your ruler to line up and bend that. That way you get a good, your crease is where it needs to be. So this is going to be the front for me. And I already have my stuff cut out. And I'm only going to share it with you because I want you to see how I did the antennas. So in the gold paper, I always notice that when you use glue everywhere, you can see the squiggle lines of the glue. So I try to stay just within the edges of what you're going to be able to see, because I don't want there to be a lot of marks on my paper. Right here, I know it's going to be covered up, so I can add glue there. It's not a biggie. So I'm going to butt this up against the edge of my mat. You might not be able to see it, but my mat has a little lip there where I can line up right up against it, and my layering piece will line up perfectly because it's got a little ledge. Well, you can see it right here. It won't go past that. And that's what I use to bud both of them up against. So there's that portion. For the second piece, I did add some foam. So I'm going to add foam to this. Some foam pieces. And I'm only going to add a couple. And I do like to, when I add the foam, I add glue to the back of the foam. Gives me a little wiggle room if I need it. So now I'm going to line this one up more or less where I think it should be. There's that. And then you would do your last piece. And I'm going to add foam tape because I will be able to, I'm going to cover that up with the center that goes there. So I'm going to add foam again, a couple of pieces of foam to that. You are going to need your hot glue gun. I don't have mine ready, but I will do it anyway. I will do the antennas and just let you know that when you do them afterwards, you do want to add hot glue so they won't move around. Let me add some little dab of glue, and we're going to line these up. They're real easy to put together. Okay. So there's the antenna, the last layer, I mean. So now you're going to need a piece of wire to create the antennas. And I don't measure anything, guys, but I will tell you, I pretty much just eyeball everything. So this piece measures about, let's see, about 6 inches, maybe a little under. And I'm going to bend it in half, about halfway, whatever I think is the halfway point. I'm going to hold it with my pliers and I'm going to bend it up. If it's a little off, I can tell right there, and I'll just shift it a little bit so that you want them to be about the same. If they're not the same, just take your wire cutters and snip it off. So to do these, I actually put my needle nose pliers to the very tip of, see the wire, but I don't want the wire to stick out, so it's in between the needle nose plier. If I put it closer to the edge, it'll be skinnier. If I put it down the middle, it'll be a little wider. And of course, if I add it to the end right here, then my loops will be even bigger. So I just go down about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna turn it into towards the other wire and keep adjusting my pliers and turning. There's the one loop. And the reason I'm turning them towards each other, because we're going to crisscross them. So I'm just going to flip this around and I'm going to do the same thing. Just kind of work my way around until I form that other loop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide them in between the vellum layer and just slide them up, and let's see if they're, right here we'll be able to tell if they're too big and they need to be trimmed down, or if they're, you know, if they're a good size. I think they're a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim mine down. I'm not going to take too much off, so instead of it being 6 inches, maybe you want to make them 5 inches or 5.5 or 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to repeat that same step. I'm going to curl it into each other. And do the same thing on the other side. There. So let's try it now. Now it's a little shorter. By the time you curve it, it should measure about 2 inches. So yeah, maybe you need about 5 inches. 5 inches would be about right. Because remember, you have to give yourself room to curl them into each other. So to me, that's about right. And I will show you that the antennas are almost reaching that score line where the bag topper folds. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to crisscross them. Oops. They weren't dry, but that's okay. We'll reglue them. So I'm just going to crisscross the antennas, pull one to the left and one to the right to make my, and I actually want to fold this up because I want to crisscross them further down where you can't really see it. And then I'll adjust them. Okay. And then just hold on to them right there. And I kind of bend them up. That's what I do. And let me put this back in place. There you go. And now we're going to add I did mine both in gold. One had stitching and one didn't. So I still like the way it looks, even though it's not contrasting colors. So when you add this centerpiece, it covers all the tape that you have underneath the vellum, and it covers the wire, the mechanics of the wire. But I would go in with some hot glue underneath this round piece in between the vellum and the designer paper to add some hot glue to make sure that this doesn't move around. And then I like to just kind of hold my finger there and crease the vellum wings, just to, you know, give them, I like dimension and everything. Look at how gorgeous that is. So the last thing we need to do is just add a gem. Look at how fast that came together. Again, I'm going to use the marquise shape. And I'm going to, it looks like it has shifted. I mean, it has already adhesive on there, but it looked like it moved. And then I'm going to add just a dab of glue for a more of a hopefully permanent hold. And just add it to the center of my butterfly slash bow bag topper. Like I said, it can do double duty because it can be a bow or it can be a butterfly. Look at how gorgeous that is. So I'm creating bag toppers for the embellishment case that I created. And probably going to create flowers and stuff to go into packages and then use these bag toppers. But look at how gorgeous this is. Let me shift it a little bit. Look at how gorgeous they are. And so very simple to make. I still have another small one cut out that I'm going to create. That's why I have these layers and my tools out, because I'm going to create a small one. Look at this, guys. It's not just a bow, but it is also it can also be a butterfly. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope that this gives you ideas on more than one way to use the bag topper, although it is just a bag topper per se, but it can either be a bow or it can be a butterfly. Also, I was noticing that if you would glue this down and put a score mark, this could actually be like those little 3x3 note cards. How beautiful would that be as a note card, you guys? Because it does open up where you could write a sentiment. But if I was to make this into a note card, I would actually glue this little section right underneath the hole, and I would put a score mark from that corner to that corner on the bottom piece. So the only one that would lift up without a crease would be the top portion. So that's what I would do. But anyway, this would make a little, a very nice note card as well. Especially like this, who wouldn't want to receive a note card like that? Thanks for watching. I hope everyone's having a great day. Remember, all the links will be in the description box. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.